What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about a pretty big update coming out of the LCS. It's about something that has been an ongoing story this entire year, and will continue to be an ongoing story in the LCS until it actually comes to a resolution. This is obviously revolving around Team Liquid and the green card situation for CoreJJ. A very, very big story. You know, Team Liquid is supposed to be the North American super team. They're supposed to be a team that is not only going to compete for LCS championships, but is also going to be a team that goes out and hopefully does something at MSI, does something at Worlds, makes the LCS proud, and shows, you know, that the LCS can compete on an international stage, which obviously they have not been able to do for the past couple of years. You know, I personally do believe that when their 5 starters are eventually able to play together, that it will be the most talented roster that the LCS has ever seen, at least on paper. But man, every week that this thing gets pushed back is just one less week of practice they have, one less week of synergy they have, all this stuff. So everyone understands how big of a deal this is and how big of a deal this could be going forward. But like I said, today we have an update to this whole situation that we're going to be talking about. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate that a ton. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Help us run those numbers up. We're going to get to 10K one of these days, guys. But yeah, that would be awesome. With that being said, let's get right into this. So what we are going over today is this article. This is from Invin. For whatever reason, hey, I keep finding myself coming back to Invin articles. You know, they keep doing a good job. They're putting out good, consistent content. They're asking the right questions. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of you know, text-based stuff, but it is nice just to be able to kind of click through stuff every once in a while. You know, you can control F, look for the keywords and things that you're looking for. But let's see what is going on here. So obviously, TL has had a little bit of a weird start to the year. Yes, they were the lock-in champs with Ayla playing support, but then in week 1 of the LCS, they fell to 100 Thieves, so, you know, it's hard to tell exactly where they're at right now. But again, I don't think anyone's reading too much into anything because they don't have their full-strength roster. And not only do they not have their full-strength roster, they don't have CoreJJ, who might be the best player in the LCS, might be the best player in the West. You know, it's not just like they're missing their 5th piece. They're missing their 1st piece, their 2nd piece, you know, their leader, their captain. And the reason that all these guys came to play, because, you know, we've heard Bjergsen say that he wanted to play with CoreJJ, and then the title of this is obviously that Hans Sama wanted to play with CoreJJ as well. And, you know, everyone's upset that they're not getting to play with him. But anyway, how are you feeling about the first 2 matches? He said, I'm feeling good. I may not be at the top of my play yet, which, hey, that's scary for the rest of the LCS teams and maybe for the rest of the world. He expects more from himself, which I think is awesome. Great mindset. We went 1-1 this weekend. We could have taken more opportunities. I think we could have won the early game if we played a little bit better. So then they went on to ask him, you know, you mentioned in a recent interview that you fell sort of into the NA play style. Hey, chill. Don't be taking shots at NA. And have since been trying to return to your standard approach regardless of your region and competition. That's fair. How has this process been going? He said he thinks it's mainly the team. Being in a different team now with TL, I've found that the game sometimes plays much slower than the aggressive pace I'm used to at all times, which is a good and a bad thing. You know, I think obviously there's some calculated risk and stuff that needs to be going on, but as a whole, I think, you know, Team Liquid has been a very slow team historically and a team that needs to get sped up. And I think, you know, with Bwipo being there and hopefully with Hans Sama being there, and once CoreJJ comes back, that they will be able to keep up some of this fast-paced gameplay, because I think it's needed, especially to have success internationally. You know, North America and TL have been slow the last couple of years, and it hasn't been good enough. So, you know, it's time for a change. But anyway, it does sound like, you know, CoreJJ wants to do that. Aside from a single game in lock-in, you and TL starting, you know, you guys, CoreJJ and you haven't been able to compete together. And he asked, what's it like, you know, playing with 2 different AD carries? He says he doesn't really like it. He prefers to grind with just one support. That's normal. That's not really a shot at Ayla. That's just 1, CoreJJ is CoreJJ, and 2, everyone would rather play with 1 support than 2 supports. It's not really ideal trying to gain synergy with 2 supports that have 2 different play styles, 2 different shot calling ideas, 2 different ways to lane, you know, all this stuff. So he does talk about that a little bit. Instead of swapping players in and out, TL have seemingly settled for the time being on starting Ayla. And has the recent roster consistently helped you adjust it all? He said it has been helpful to keep the roster the same after quarterfinals, so I get to play with the same players, but we aren't really in the office together, so the vibes feel quite different in comparison to his competitive past. And, you know, obviously I totally get that. It's definitely annoying that, you know, they haven't all been able to get together yet and everything, but hopefully that should be changing soon. It seems like the situations in a lot of places are getting a lot better, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how TL does once they're all able to be together, especially in the studio and stuff, and how the rest of the LCS is going to handle that situation as well. We do have this question. People are already heralding you as the best AD carry in the LCS before you even played a game for TL. Do you agree with that? And he says he thinks he's improved from an insane amount from last year, or last year he improved an insane amount, and he considers himself to be someone who can beat anyone in the AD carry role. For now, I don't think I've shown my true potential in the LCS. I think there are a bunch of games where I've done really well, but there's also been a bunch of games where he's just kind of done whatever. He says he's been confused at times, but with a clear mind and clear play, I think I can definitely be the best. In terms of other LCS AD carries, I don't really get to play against some of them, so I can't really tell whom amongst them is the best. However, Berserker had a really good showing this week, and yes, Berserker's a guy I'm very, very excited for. They asked him about Rogue, which I think is interesting. You know, Rogue was 9-0 at the time this interview came out. Obviously, that changed today, spoiler, with their loss to Astralis, but, you know, just kind of asked him about them. He said, hey, I write to them sometime. I really enjoyed living with them and spending time with them. Before coming to TL, I just wrote to Larson a few weeks ago. It makes me very happy that they are very successful. Asked him about Inspired a little bit. Obviously, you know, Inspired coming over from Rogue. He's now in the LCS as well. And he says they haven't really talked as much. I pretty much only stayed in the apartment, or they haven't contacted as much. I don't know if that means talked or like actually physically got in contact with each other. Pretty much stayed in his apartment and have only gone outside much because one by one a bunch of people have gotten COVID. Obviously, that's awesome there. And then here is the big question. Are you able to provide any update on when CoreJJ's green card will come through so we can see the full Team Liquid roster in the LCS? Now, obviously, the organization has been pretty tight-lipped about this whole thing. We haven't really heard much from Core. We haven't really heard much from the team. And to me, that's been a little bit disappointing. I do think that the Team Liquid fans deserve more updates, more of an answer. Again, obviously, if they don't really have anything to say, there's not much you can do, but I still think at least like a weekly check-in of just like, hey, this is what's going on, or this is the update, or, you know, telling us what you can say would be awesome. I think silence is never the answer. I think just saying nothing, I think your fans always deserve more than that, especially people who are spending, you know, their hard-earned money with you on merch, or, you know, just, I know Team Liquid has like Team Liquid Plus and all this stuff, and even people just spending their free time, you know, time that they could be doing anything else to tune into your content, watching your matches, all that stuff. They're curious about CoreJJ. They're wondering what's going on. Their best player, their favorite player, a guy who they have all this hope and excitement surrounding. I really think they do deserve answers. So I wish the organization would do a better job in terms of communication. I know I've tried to get in touch with the organization and people involved there, and you know, I've pretty much been told no comment or nothing, or that they can't really provide any details at this time, which again, I think is very, very disappointing, and I really don't think is good enough by the organization. But I was surprised, you know, that Hansama did answer this. He said, I don't have much of an update. I think it could be pretty soon. Now, what does that mean? You know, he says he thinks, so he doesn't know, and, you know, he's not really going off too much information. Like he says, he doesn't have much of an update, but he thinks it could be pretty soon. Now, does that mean the team is expecting it to be pretty soon? Does that mean they're hopeful it'll be pretty soon? Does that mean there's just a possibility that it could be pretty soon? I don't know, but this is as much of an update at this point that we have to go off of. And again, I think it's really, really disappointing that, you know, the most we can speculate about is a couple sentences from their AD carry. Like, this is what your management, this is what your staff, this is what your team should be doing, so your players don't have to answer questions like this. But, you know, they kind of put him in a weird spot here. But he does say he thinks it could be pretty soon. I would be very hyped to start playing more with CoreJJ because it was one of the reasons why I wanted to come to Team Liquid at the end of 2021. I thought that I really wanted to build a world-class bot lane together with CoreJJ. I want to build the strongest bot lane duo ever, and that's awesome to hear that he thinks him and CoreJJ can do that. I love that confidence. I love that attitude. I love that demeanor. But yeah, I mean, the biggest update we have at this point is that Hansama thinks that, you know, CoreJJ could be getting his green card pretty soon. Now, again, I don't think Hansama's just making that up. I'm assuming that's something that's, you know, being passed around the organization. That's something people are saying. Again, it's not super concrete. It's not anything super official, but it does make me hopeful that at least there is a potential and chance that this thing could be happening at some time in the spring split, you know, because if they just got denied, or if it wasn't happening, or if they were waiting until summer or whatever, and they knew it was this awful situation, you know, I don't think Hansama would be saying this. So I think overall the organization, a lot of the players, a lot of the guys still don't know exactly what's going on, but they're still optimistic. So I think that gives us all plenty of reason to be. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. When do you guys think CoreJJ is going to get that green card? During the spring split? In between, during summer, never this year? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hope we catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.